Welcome, welcome, Vernon Owls. We're going to be starting up here in just a minute. For those of you who are here a few minutes early, thank you for joining us, 3rd through 5th grade families. We're excited to welcome you back to our back to school night, and we'll be starting at 5:45. Good evening and welcome. Vernon Owls, our 3rd through 5th grade back to school night for Vernon is starting up, our first and hopefully last virtual back to school night. Thank you for joining us for our live stream. You're going to be hearing a little bit about what's going on with the school and some more about virtual learning, some resources and support. We're going to be hearing from a school board member and also from Tatiana Bruce, our son's school coordinator. And after we're done, you're going to be able to head over to your virtual child's classroom, or your real child, but the virtual classroom. And you're going to be able to check in and see what they're up to this year in terms of learning and learn more about what's going on in the classroom. Thank you all for joining us. We're going to be starting with our board vice chair, Scott Bailey, who represents our very own Zone 5.
We're certainly in extraordinary times right now. We're in the middle of a pandemic. We're continuing a 400-year struggle for racial justice in this country. And with the devastating fires, not only here, but really around the world, we're getting a big warning about what's coming with climate change if we don't do something. In these times, I hope you and your loved ones are staying safe and healthy. I do want to take this opportunity to briefly mention an important matter that's on the upcoming November ballot, and that's the renewal of the Portland Public Schools construction bond. I think you're well aware we have about 80 school buildings in this district, and most of them are pretty old and pretty funky and need a lot of work. We started a bond program in 2012. Voters approved the bond then and again in 2017. What we've done with that money is do the basics like fixing roofs. We've added elevators to improve accessibility. We've addressed some really important health and safety concerns in schools like lead in the water, lead paint, asbestos. And we've also started modernizing and rebuilding our 80 schools. And right now, there are 2 schools, actually 3 schools under construction. Madison and Kellogg are due to open next year, and we broke ground on Lincoln this past winter. The 2020 bond will continue a lot of this work. Again, fixing roofs, fixing heating and ventilation systems, addressing more health and safety concerns, improving accessibility. We're also going to address information technology. I think we're all aware how important that is in education right now. We'll be replacing servers, buying new computers for students and staff, and fixing Wi-Fi dead spots in schools. We're also, and this is a new feature for this bond, we'll be replacing curriculum materials. We're way behind in a lot of curriculum materials, but if, when the bond passes, within 5 years, we will have updated all our materials across the board. My kids started school in 1994, and that's never been true for them. So this is really a dream come true. Finally, we will continue modernizing schools. We'll rebuild Benson and build a new building for our multiple pathways to graduation programs. And I'm very excited. We're going to be investing over $360 million in the Jefferson cluster on a Center for Black Student Excellence that will include the rebuilding of Jefferson High School. And we'll do all this by maintaining the same tax rate that we have had in the last couple of years. So it's just keep it going, and we'll keep doing good things. And if we keep this up over the next couple of decades, we'll have modernized all our schools. That'll be a huge, huge thing for our students. So I hope you'll join me in voting yes in November on Measure 26215. That's the PPS construction bond. Thanks again for your support of our students and staff and schools here. And now I'll turn it back over to Ben. Thanks.
Thank you for that message. Scott was able to join us for the first one, and we had a little video clip of what he was able to share with us for the rest of you. We wanted to start by saying how fabulous a team we have. We have a wonderful group of teachers and staff here that support the students at Vernon, but we also want to extend that thank you and that dedication, the amazing gratitude for the dedication to you all as well, since we now have a partnership unlike any other that we've had before in terms of you helping facilitate virtual learning for your children in the home. So thank you for being a part of our fabulous team. This is an amazing community. I feel very lucky to be a part of it. And I'm very thankful that you all are doing all you're doing to help your students be able to learn as much as they are. We're going to be centering the work that we do this year in the graduate portrait. This was a part of a visioning process for Portland Public Schools, where they looked at what we want to create in our students and our learners by the time they're done with the Portland Public Schools educational system. So we're looking to try and create students who are optimistic, future-oriented, reflective, empathetic, and empowered, influential and informed global stewards, positive, confident, and connected, having a strong sense of self, powerful and effective communicators, resilient and adaptable lifelong learners, transformative racial equity leaders, and boy, do we need them now, inquisitive, critical thinkers with deep core knowledge, and inclusive and collaborative problem solvers. If we're able to do this, we're going to be making our world a much better place through the amazing things that our students will be able to accomplish. For this year, for us, equity and IB are at the center of the work that we do. We are an IB school. International Baccalaureate is what that stands for. We have primary years and middle years programming. Primary years programming is grades K through 5. Middle years is grades 6 through 8, and 9 and 10 in other schools that have MYP. Our big focus this year is going to be working on getting better with our staff, working together and collaborating as a staff to address the achievement gap for our Black and Brown students. This is essential to the work that we're trying to do in terms of making sure that each and every student is able to fulfill their potential. We're going to be working on building our school climate to help ensure that we have the best learning environment possible for each of our students. We're also going to be working on refining our school and family partnerships because we want all of you to feel empowered and help your students be empowered to reach their full potential. And we thank you for that partnership. There's a piece I want to share about resources that's really important. We've pushed this a few times in the OWL post, and we're going to share it again this week. There's a place on PPS's site where you can get a menu of student and family supports, and you'll see each one of these symbols shared there, and you can click on them on the web page to get more support from each of these areas. So we have student meals, childcare, student health. We have computer repair and exchange, health advisory panel, which gives a little information on how they're making decisions around what we're doing in school around the COVID-19 and how we're dealing with that. Mental health and safety, and then also just a place to get all of the fall of 2020 messages that have already come out. So that's something that is actually quite helpful. And to be completely honest, we know that we sometimes overwhelm people with the amount of information that we push out. So we just wanted to point this out because there may be a time when you're wanting some information, and this is a nice place to go and get it. A lot of different information in one place. One of the really great things that we want to make sure that we highlight here is about student meals. There is a program that Portland Public Schools has in partnership with the United States Department of Agriculture, which actually is going to allow us to provide school meals for every single student at no cost. This program is going to be able to offer 7 days worth of meals, and that's breakfast and lunch material, food for not just PPS students, but every single Portland child ages 1 through 18. So Vernon isn't one of the sites, but families can pick up sacks of breakfast and lunch from 3 to 5 on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays at Rigler, Woodlawn, Martin Luther King Jr., and 35 other schools. So all these pickup areas are outside. You do not have to show any ID or anything. You just show up and tell them how many kids you're picking up for. They ask that people wear a face mask and practice physical distancing as they pick up those meals. We hope that our Vernon families are able to take advantage of this opportunity for the benefit of their students. The next thing that we're going to be doing is hearing from Ms. Tatiana Bruce, who is our Sun School Site Manager for Vernon.
Thanks, Ben. I just want to say good evening, first of all, to all of you guys. I'm very excited to be on here. I miss all of the faces that I have seen this year, and I can't wait to meet those of you that are new. I am Tatiana Bruce. I'm the Sun Site Manager here at Vernon. I wanted to just let you guys all know about our virtual programming that's coming up October 12th through December 17th. The SEI applications are available to fill out now, so you can go ahead and check out the link that I'll be emailing out and posting on Facebook. Once the applications are in, then we'll start with class registration. So if you are interested in having your student in fall programming virtually, then stay tuned for that message on Facebook and in your email. But I hope you guys are off to a great start for school, and I look forward to seeing you all again soon.
Thanks.
Thanks, Toddy, for that information. And that's something that's wonderful. So SUN stands for Schools Uniting Neighborhoods, and we are a SUN school program, and it's a really wonderful thing. So while we'd much rather be able to be in person, Toddy's going to be sharing that information, and we'll be pushing that out in the newsletter. Also, it'll come out for people who follow on the Facebook side. She usually drops it on there as well. So we'll have that out in multiple forms, and hopefully people will be able to take advantage of that. We wanted to speak a little bit to virtual Vernon, and I think that, you know, there's no denying that this is a massive change and a massive ask for teachers and for parents and for students. And we just want you to know that we commit as a community to support the learning of Vernon students. We can't do this without you. That's not a new thing. We've always needed parents as a partner in learning for our students, but it's never, ever been at this level. And we understand that that partnership and that ask that we're putting out there is a huge thing for you all. And we're willing to work with you, and our teachers are willing to work with you to do what we can to make that work for our students. So we appreciate you. We appreciate all that you're doing to make this work. And we understand that there is a huge difference between school now and school as it was before we had the virtual learning. So thank you all for your help. And I'm going to go through a few things that'll hopefully help make this a little more manageable for folks. Some of you probably already figured out some of this on your own. Time management is huge, whether it's in person or virtually. And so we always recommend having a schedule, making sure that you make time for yourself. And that goes for your students and for the adults, because if adults don't do self-care, it's really hard for them to take care of the kids. Make sure that you get yourself into a routine for your, that the students have a regular time where they're doing things. Your teachers worked on that a bit already in terms of schedule, but we understand that families have and need some flexibility in some of that asynchronous learning, that independent work that's happening outside of the time when they're working with the teacher. Go ahead and make that work for you. That's why there's some flexibility in attendance and how that's counted. So we want to make sure that you're able to take part in as much of the online learning as possible, but we understand that that may need to look a little different in terms of timing for families. Make sure that you have scheduled breaks, and we need to keep that stress as a minimum so that we can manage all of this virtual learning. We're in this together, folks. Reducing distractions is a huge plus in this, and it's hard because we're in front of screens, and I know that a lot of parents have a huge concern about how much screen time our students have. So what I will say is trying to come up with those regular routines and just reducing those distractions to help that focus can sometimes be really helpful in terms of closing the computer and doing some things that aren't in front of a screen. Read a book, do some other things to make sure that you're taking care of things that aren't technology based. And one of the great ways to do that is through brain breaks. There's some ideas here, and we'll be sharing these in the OWL post, but you all have lots of ideas as well. And these are split up into different amounts of time. Everything from getting up and making sure that you're walking around and getting the blood flowing, to if you have a longer break, what are some other things that you can do in terms of, playing with friends, playing with toys, reading a book, playing a card game, doing something to stimulate your mind in another way. It's really important to the success of learning to make sure that you don't just go huge amounts of time doing the same thing, that you kind of break that up. So we hope that people are able to take advantage of some of those tips along the way, and we'll definitely be sharing them and probably wanting you to share some as well, because I'm sure you've all figured out some creative ideas. I know this community is incredibly creative. We know that positive feedback is one of the most essential things to student success in the classroom. And so for us, that's something that you'll see teachers doing, a lot of very specific praise about things that students are doing that's making them feel like they're doing the things that is going to make them be successful as a learner. You can join right in this, and I know that so many of you already do. So just jump in there with specific praise around things that you like that they're doing, and we'll give you some as well. Thank you for all that you've been doing. We are proud of you. You have been doing an amazing job, and we thank you for your flexibility and getting all this technology figured out. We know it can be quite the challenge. So we'll try and keep giving you all some positive feedback as we give it to your students as well. We appreciate you. Being flexible. This one's huge for anything that involves technology, and any of you that have experienced technology know this, that it's good to have plan B, C, and D. And so this is a time to really kind of think out and talk to your student. If something's not working the way it's supposed to, we're here to help. You can reach out to Ms. Harold, you can reach out to me, you can reach out to your child's teacher, you can call the office. Ms. Connie and Ms. Teresa are here to help out too. But we also want you to know that we completely understand if things are going haywire and they're not working and your internet connection is not working out. Grab a book, color something, do something productive, journal on something, write a letter to a friend, write a letter to Mr. Kiefer, do something to make sure that you're having other options when things aren't working the way you want them to. That's something that really is a tip and trick. And if you ask any experienced teacher, they've got some of those things in their back pocket. So if stuff doesn't work out, they just shift gears. And that's something that we can definitely all learn and work and learn from each other on. So a big part of this, and we want to make sure that we're taking care of each other. We have two wonderful counselors, Miss Hannah Ellen and Shannon Nicholas, who are both here to help support our students' social emotional well-being. And also all of your classroom teachers are as well. We understand how important it is to stay connected during this period of where we're having to do more of self-isolation. And I know a lot of families have already worked out ways to achieve some social distancing, social gatherings, and different things like that with their students. There's ways to do this virtually. If that's a struggle for you and you're really having problems, make sure to reach out and let us know. We want to make sure to connect our families in ways that are positive and supportive. Communication is huge. I've already mentioned it multiple times about reaching out to your teacher, reaching out to me, reaching out to Miss Harold, reaching out to our counselors. We mean it. We definitely want this communication to be two-way. It is huge. How well we do this partnership and communicating with one another is extremely closely linked to how things are going to go for your students. And so make sure that if you're needing something, if something's not working, connect with your teacher, make sure you're talking things over with them. You can work with Jane, you can work with myself, you can work with anybody who you feel can help out. Miss Tatiana Bruce is an amazing resource if you're needing something as well. So make sure you're reaching out and connecting with people who can give you a hand. I want to talk a little bit about the Vernon program. This is something that we usually try and go over every year to just let people know a little bit about our school and how the program, like school program, is configured. We have 18 K-5 teachers. Our overall number is down a little bit this year from last year. We had about 600, so we're about 25, 27 down from last year. Class sizes are wonderful right now. We have average class size in K-5 of a little over 21 students per class. Middle grades are also looking really nice. Sixth grade's a little bigger, but for middle school, 28 and a half is actually not too bad across the district. It's bigger in many cases. In seventh and eighth grade, it's in the low 20s. So we really like that, and we'll hope that we can continue that low class size for years to come. And in terms of specials, we have a whole list of people who support our program in a number of different ways. So we have PE teachers, 2 of them. We have a music teacher, an art teacher, a library media specialist. The book bag stuff has already started. Ms. Wilkins has done a fabulous job with that and getting that out. So make sure you take advantage of that when you get a chance. We have a Spanish teacher, Mr. DeRosa. We have a halftime Mandarin teacher, Siwen Wu, who also works with our students. MYP design. We also have ESL and SPED support, and then administrative support staff. We'll share this information in another forum because it's a lot of information in a short period of time. But I just want to make sure that people had a sense of all the folks that go into supporting our program, because there's definitely a lot of them. They do fabulous work. We're this year, we talked a little bit about what we're doing in terms of some of our goals and our focus. I just want to make sure that you understand that we're really going to be centered in celebrating our owls and all they do. So there's going to be things that we do to shine a light on some of the great things that our students are doing. We also want to make sure we're supporting both students and families, really focusing on great teaching and learning for our students. That we're helping engage and empower parents so that they can support, engage, and empower their students at the school. And then each and every student reaching their full potential is a huge piece for us. So we're going to be working with this year to see if we can make that happen. We are going to now switch over, and it's almost 6:05. So what you're going to do now is head to your child's classroom so 3rd through 5th grade parents are going to head to their child's meeting code. You either got one directly from the teacher, they might have sent one to you, or you can just use the same meeting code that you would normally use for your child to get onto class every day. We appreciate you. We hope you have a wonderful evening. Please let us know if you have any questions, and have a great evening.